thank you to everyone in the audience, and especially the people behind me. You know, we're talking about making donating your tissues and your organs that much easier. And I'm going to speak a little bit from experience before I introduce the other speakers. Having my brother pass away at a young age, and I remember when the doctors came in and they said, hey, can we take some of his organs and donate them? And I remember the process. I was 15 at the time, sitting there going, wow, what, really? You know, you're hitting us with that now? You know, and how hard it was for the doctor to come in to do that, you know, but trying to explain while you're grieving the impact it will have on other people's lives. So, you know, New York State really stepped up with the driver's license. Now you can donate, you can sit there and sign off. I did, it's on my driver's license. And it makes it easier for families when they're grieving. So the doctors don't have to come in there and say, hey, can we do this, can we do that, at a time that you're trying to deal with your loss. So we're trying to streamline the process here. So we're trying to make it easier in Albany County, because right now, when that happens, you have to get a certified autopsy done, and the process can take up to 3 weeks to get the tissues or the organs. And as we know in the medical community, we don't have time. We know that we have to get it out there as soon as we can. There's people waiting, and every hour that they're waiting in a bed in the hospital is an hour closer to them passing away. So by doing this, and I'm not going to get into the technical stuff, so if there is technical questions about the legal end, I'll leave that to Tom Russell, who looks like he's falling asleep on me already. You all right, Tom? You know, we want to make the process easier, and that's what today's press conference is about. It's about saying, hey, look at Albany County, you know, sign up when you renew your driver's license or go down to motor vehicle and check off that little box. Make it easier on your family, because there's so many people that can benefit from, you know, unfortunately from your loss. It can really turn some other lives around. And that's why we really wanted to highlight this. And going through that, my own experience at a young age, it wasn't easy. And I know that the stories that other people are going to share here will be telling you the same thing. So I could sit here and talk all day about my own experience, but I want to bring up Sam Messina, who knows what the process is. His son Matthew was killed by a drunk driver. Matthew was able to help nearly 100 patients in 25 states. Think about that, 100 patients in 25 states through donation of skin, tissue, and organs. I'd like to invite Sam up to talk right now about his experience and continuing work with donation and transplants. Sam?
Thank you, Dan. Thank you. Good morning. You know, it's my honor to be with you. County Executive Dan McCoy talked a little bit about my son Matthew, but you need to really know from me why I'm here and why it's such a pleasure to connect with people in government, in the not-for-profit organizations, and in businesses like Albany County as a government organization, and the Muscular Tissue Foundation, and the Center for Donation and Transplant, and the other wonderful organizations that are here. You know, there's heartbreak and difficulty in all lives, in mine and in yours, but you need to know about Matthew a bit to know why this is so important. Matthew was killed by a hit-run drunk driver 11 years ago. He was 25 years of age. Jan and I, my wife, got the call 2:30 in the morning that Matthew was critically injured. Well, he never regained consciousness. But when we got to the hospital and was with Matthew and had a decision to make, it was a life-renewing decision already early in the grief process, because we were given an opportunity to donate his organs and his tissues. See, we're very fortunate as a family. We have met 2 women that are alive because of Matthew's donations. We are fortunate because, in this case, the Muscular Tissue Foundation, the Center for Donation and Transplant, reached out to us literally a year after Matthew died and said, would you like to know a little bit more about the tissue transplantation? What we got to know is literally 100 families in 25 states had people who were suffering, had the quality of their lives improved because of our son. So the bottom line is, tough things happen in all lives. It's what we do moving forward that's important. And I have been so honored and pleased to, just from the side, to work a bit with the county executive's office and his legal staff, and work with the Muscular Tissue Foundation and their legal staff and the Center for Donation and Transplant to, as people describe me doing, nudging things forward a bit so that there could be an arrangement so that people who are trying to find out how to live again do not have to go through the process of grief again weeks or months after the death of their loved one by filling out a form or getting something notarized. So I commend County Executive Dan McCoy, Tom Marcel, his staff, and everyone in this county, and all of the donation organizations that have stuck in there over 2 or 3 years to find a way to get this done. Good work, God bless, and thanks a lot.
As you can tell, it's still an emotional process, and Sam's correct to take it, a negative and turn it into a positive, and that's what it's about. Our next speaker, Vicki Crozier, unfortunately went through the same thing with her son, and I'll let her share that experience with you, Vicki.
Thank you. Sam gave all the thank yous for me, right, Sam? Yeah, see? So I don't have to do that. Instead, I'll get to tell you about a young man named Kyle John Crozier, who was 17 when he was killed in an automobile accident in our driveway. Our youngest child, Kenny, was stillborn. So when Kyle died, I knew I couldn't leave the hospital with nothing. Not again. Not and survive. So we approached the hospital staff to see if there was anything Kyle could donate. And Kyle was a kidney donor, and he was a cornea donor, which means that somewhere today, someone can see a grandchild smile, or can see a school bus stop to pick them up, which is a pretty amazing gift for a 17-year-old. Now, knowing Kyle, and Sam talked a little bit about the grief process and how difficult it is, especially early on, when I consider it a good day if you can get out of bed, get dressed, and your shoes match. I think that's a good day. And remembering socks are always optional. For a donor family, that's a good day. They should not have to relive a horrible experience once again by having to read through a document that they already signed. You see, this is something we already did. We signed already. We shouldn't have to go through it again. So today is very, very special for me and for donor families all over, because donation is wonderful, and you're going to see the results of donation today. So I want to talk about what a wonderful thing it is, and what a wonderful experience, and what a healing experience it can be for the donor family. We know what it can do for the recipient, but what can it do for the donor family? Well, in the first place, it can give them one good thing out of an otherwise horrific day. It can be one positive thing. It can mean their loved one lives on. It can give them hope for a new tomorrow, and it could give them a crutch. When they're really bad and things are really bad, you can always say to yourself, but he's not all dead. Not really. Somewhere tonight, a part of him still lives. That gave me hope. It gave me, it challenged me to make sure that donor families and their issues are looked at. It challenged me to make sure that they're treated with dignity and with respect, and that things are made as easy as possible for a donor family. So that's why I work for the Lions Eye Bank. I wonder what Kyle would think. I guess if you're a donor family, you wonder what Mike would think about mom still working at this age. But I think he would probably say what his brother says. Ma, you go for it. And I have, and I thank you, and I thank you, Dan McCoy.
Vicki and Sam, thank you for sharing your stories with us, and it's hard. Our next guest, Wendy Bourbon, right? Bourbon, I was close. Ashley has a variety of experiences, being a flight medic or nurse for Albany Med, seeing both sides of it, and I'm going to let you talk about your story, but it's a unique one, and it's a great from both aspects of the situation. So, Wendy.
Hi, all. My name is Wendy Bourbon. I'm glad Vicki brought up putting shoes on because I just want everyone to know I was told I would never wear heels again. I'm a donor recipient. To give you a little background about who I am, I'm a mom, 2 kids. I live in Latham. I've been an ICU nurse for over 16 years. I did a couple years in the helicopter that lands at Albany Med all the time. And I decided to go up on a ladder a year and a half ago and do some spring cleaning in the garage, and the ladder came out from underneath me. And as I was falling, I was trying to decide how I was going to fall. Because in my mind, the process of falling was going to take about 5 or 6 minutes. So I'm, coming up with all these ideas. Should I fall on my shoulder? Should I get a pelvis fracture? Here's how I'm going to fall. So I fell on my feet, and I shattered my tibia, the long bone below your knee, and shattered it up into my knee, and did really bad damage to it. Had to call 911, something I thought I would never have to do. My children fought over the phone on who was going to call 911. Eventually, I got to the Albany Med and had surgery the next day. 5 days later, on my discharge, I was handed a card for being a tissue recipient. So I've received donor bone and tissue in my leg in order to put all those pieces of the bone together where my knee sits. So I wrote my letter back to the family. My donor family was a 61-year-old gentleman. I'm not sure what state they were from. He was very active in his community. And I am so thankful for that family. I would be able to stand in my heels. I rode my bike this weekend 60 miles because I've been riding in like the Tour de Cure to raise money for diabetes. I did the Double H tour a couple weeks ago in Adirondack. So the fact alone that I can wear heels and stand is amazing. I never ever could have done that without this tissue. Never. Thank you.
It's great to hear from our speakers to highlight what's going on. And the main reason for this press conference is so when the family says yes, the medical process starts, but actually to get the tissues released can take weeks. It can take months. It can take even years. So one of the things that we've done as county executive and working with Tom Marcel and my staff here, we've actually petitioned the Supreme Court. We have filed paperwork asking the process be streamlined. So when a tissue bank needs the donation, they don't have to go back to the family to get a notarized autopsy done. It makes it easier on the family. As you heard from Sam and you heard from Vicki and from Wendy about what they went through, and about the process. You end up, and Vicki, you summed it up right, you end up grieving again a little bit because you have to relive that whole situation again, reading the paperwork, going through it, because I can tell you you're not gonna just sign it, you're gonna read what you're signing, and it makes it that much more difficult. And I compliment the different organizations that are out there trying to highlight this process. But again, to bring awareness to people in Albany County and to the capital region, it's important that you sign at motor vehicle to donate your organs if that is your wish, if that's what you like to do, and again, to take a negative and turn it into a positive. But we want to make it easier on the families here in Albany County to make that process that much easier. So again, I want to thank all 3 of you for sharing your stories. I can tell you it's a difficult one, and I wish, listen to you, Vicki, at that time my mom had an organization like that to fall back on, and to make it, not that it makes it that much easier, but you feel the good that's going on when that situation happens. At this time, we can take questions from the audience if anyone has any questions. None? Everyone's going to sit there and smile? Really? We have no questions. I don't know if the media has any questions. No? Well, again, thank you for coming, and I'd like to thank our 3 special guests. Thank you.
Thank you.